We will continue with chapter number 2 of Science 2, which is Life Processes Part 1. We have studied about respiration, and today we will study about two things: nutrients and cell cycle. So, the part which I'm calling nutrients in your textbook, it is on page number 16 with the heading Energy from Different Food Components. Although the heading says energy from different food components, the content is not only about energy, it is about different uses of the nutrient, this different purpose, different need for nutrients. And then the last part of the chapter, which starts on page number 17, is with the heading Cell Division, an Essential Life Process. Before we study cell division, we need to understand what cell cycle is. So that is what we will do. We will understand nutrients, and we will also understand cell cycle, so that we are ready to study cell division in the next class. Be ready with your textbooks, notebooks, pencils, and pens. Very basic thing. What are nutrients and what is nutrition? Nutrients, both nutrients and nutrition, they are nouns. Nutrients are things. Nutrition is a process. Nutrients are various substances that are necessary for our life processes, and we derive these things from our food. Once again, nutrients are various substances that are necessary for life processes, and we derive them from food. And this process of getting the nutrients is called nutrition. Eating is not nutrition. Just getting the nutrition, getting the nutrients is called nutrition. Sometimes we take medicines for nutrition. Sometimes we take fluids in our veins for our nutrition. Right? It is not necessary that the nutrition has to go through our mouth. Generally, that is what happens. Not always. There are exceptions. So very simple definitions, and these are a couple of questions which have been asked in the exercise at the end of the chapter as to define what is nutrition and what are nutrients. So if we know simple basic English, we can write like this. Now, if it is a 1-mark question, just one sentence is enough. If it is a 2-mark question, we can give examples. Right? So if someone asks what is nutrition, and it's a 2-mark question, we can say it is the process of the body obtaining nutrients. We derive the nutrients through food, and we eat the food. Right? What are nutrients? You can say various substances. Nutrients are the substances that are necessary for life processes, and we derive the nutrients from our food. We eat the food, and then we can list some examples of the nutrients which you have already studied, and we will study once again now. Let us see if you remember. Tell me if you have come prepared for the class, if you have studied in the previous grades. When we talk about nutrients, what is the first nutrient that should come to your mind? And it is the first nutrient which is mentioned in the textbook also. Look at the textbook on page number 16, energy from different components, and tell me what is the first nutrient. Correct. Those who have replied, carbohydrates is correct. What's the second nutrient? Okay, someone is saying proteins. Yes, I have also written the same thing, proteins. What's the third nutrient which is mentioned in the textbook? So some of you are saying fats, but if you are careful, fat is not mentioned in the textbook. The textbook says lipids, Lipids. And yes, in common terminology, we refer to the lipids as fats, but your textbook says lipids. What's the next nutrient that is mentioned in the textbook? Vitamins. Very good. Correct. What the next nutrient which is mentioned in the textbook after vitamins or vitamins? Chand is saying calcium, minerals. Is it mentioned? Are minerals mentioned in the textbook? No, they are not mentioned. You're just saying because you know that minerals are not mentioned, and they are not mentioned because they are not directly associated with production of energy, right? So minerals. Then the textbook mentions water, water as an essential nutrient for the human body. What is the last nutrient that is mentioned in the textbook? What is the last one? All these words are in the textbook. Okay, I'm not getting any answer. So the last nutrient that is mentioned in the textbook is fibers. Fibers, correct, Chanda, Aarti, correct, fibers. And a more technical name for that is roughage. Fibers or roughage. Okay? So these are the 7 nutrients that we need to know about. In the textbook, number 5, minerals is not mentioned. No harm if you know. So we will get to know our minerals also in a very, very, very brief way. So the next part of the session will be about each of these nutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, vitamins, minerals, water, and fibers. And the information about these nutrients in your textbook is at 3 different places. One part of the information is on page number 12. You will tell me what part of information is on page number 12. That is the first page of the textbook, first page of the chapter. Then the information is there on page number 16, and the last part of the information is there on page number 17. Of course, minerals are not mentioned in the textbook. Let us start from the beginning, which is carbohydrates. Remember, all these nutrients we don't take directly. We take them, we eat food. So we derive these nutrients from food. And food is first digested. So when we digest the carbohydrates, what we end up with is simpler molecules, which are called glucose. We have already seen how glucose is used to produce energy in the process of respiration. And how useful or how efficient, how much energy we can produce? We have said that one glucose molecule we can produce 38 molecules of ATP from one glucose molecule using in aerobic respiration. But if we talk in terms of energy, energy is measured in terms of joules, calories. Then it becomes 4 kilocalories per gram of carbohydrates. So if you are taking carbohydrates, if you are consuming carbohydrates, then for every gram of carbohydrate, the body can produce 4 kilocalorie of energy. Can you tell me where this number is mentioned? Where this quantity 4 kilocalorie per gram for carbohydrates is mentioned? Check and tell. If you go back to page number 12 of the textbook, and if you see just above, use your brain power from bottom of the page, it says we get 4 kilocalorie energy per gram of carbohydrates. So this is the only part of nutrients which is on page number 12. All other information in the textbook is on page number 16 and page number 17. Okay. Then, okay, so we digested, so we made glucose. So what do we do if we don't need all the glucose? There was a time when food was less and human beings had to work so hard to get glucose. But now with the progress in science and technology, food is so readily available. So readily available. When human beings did not know agriculture, they had to go and hunt for food, gather food. When they got to know agriculture, they had to work hard to grow food. But now science, technology, commerce has evolved so much that all we do, majority of the people do, is go to the shop and buy food. It has become so easy. So there is excess of glucose in our body. What happens to that? It is stored in liver and muscles. It is not wasted. It is stored in our liver and in our muscles in the form of glycogen. Need to remember this. When you go to college, if you take up science, you will study in biology. You will study, when you study digestion in detail, you will also study how the glucose is stored. The excess glucose, which is not readily used by the cell to produce energy, is stored in liver and in muscles as glycogen. And it is used in respiration when there is lack of glucose. So 3 points to remember here. Digestion of carbohydrates lead to glucose. Main use of the carbohydrate is to produce energy. And how efficient it is, how much energy we can produce? 4 kilocalories per gram. What happens to the excess carbohydrate, excess glucose? It is stored in liver and muscles as glycogen. Information that we need to know, remember. Let us move to the next nutrient. As you rightly said, the next nutrient that is mentioned in the textbook is proteins. Proteins are macromolecules. Some molecules are micromolecules, some molecules are called macromolecules because they are much bigger in size. We have already studied in chapter number 1, heredity and evolution, that proteins are made up of amino acids. Not only this, we also studied how proteins are formed in our body, starting from the DNA to RNA, how the amino acids are collected, they are joined together by peptide bonds, and then they fold into a specific shape to become a protein. The protein that we get from animals, they are called first-class proteins. We also get our proteins from plants, both from animal food and plant food. Food that is coming of animal origin, food that is of plant origin. Both have proteins. Because the proteins are made up of amino acids, when we digest the proteins, they are broken down into amino acids. Of course, अगर दीवार ईंट से बनी है तो अगर हम दीवार को तोड़ेंगे या फिर दीवार का प्लास्टर उतारेंगे तो हमको ईंटें ही दिखेंगी. What are proteins used for? Proteins are used in so many things. Remember, proteins are the building blocks of human body. They provide the structure and support for human body. How? These proteins, which we digested to form amino acids, they are regrouped. The amino acids are joined together to form proteins, and those proteins are used in different parts of the body. They are used in skin. The amino acids that are used in skin are melanin, keratin, melanin and keratin. The amino acid which is used in bones is osein. The amino acids which are used in pancreas, insulin and trypsin. The amino acids which are used in blood, hemoglobin, antibodies. They are used to make antibodies. Amino acids are also used to make actin, myosin in muscles. Right? A lot of things. Most of the essential parts of our body, they are made up of proteins, and those proteins are made from amino acids. That's one. Our focus is on production of energy. We are studying respiration. We have also understood that proteins can also be used for respiration. If you go back to page number 15 and look at the flow chart, proteins are first converted into amino acids. And then those amino acids are converted into acetyl coenzyme A, which takes part in the Krebs cycle in mitochondria to produce energy. So how much energy is protein able to produce, or how much energy are we able to produce from proteins? 4 kilocalorie per gram. It is the same amount that we get from carbohydrates. Okay. The amount of energy that we get from proteins per gram of protein is same as the amount of energy that we get from carbohydrates. 4 kilocalories per gram. But there is a difference, right? It is much easier to produce energy from carbohydrates. It is a little difficult to produce energy from proteins. There is a difference. And another big difference is the excess of glucose is stored in liver and muscles in the form of glycogen. But if you don't remember, this is what we said. Excess of glucose is stored in the form in liver and muscles as glycogen. But the excess of amino acids are not stored in our body. Some of it is broken down into ammonia and is excreted through the excretory system. So it goes out of our body in the form of, tell me the word which starts with an U. Kidney is used in this process, excretory system. Urine, yes. And all of us know that urine has a very foul smell. That foul smell of the urine is because of presence of ammonia in it. Ammonia is a very foul smelling gas. If we don't clean our toilets, urinals properly, it's the same smell. It is the smell of the ammonia, which we have secreted from our bodies through urine. And some of the excess amino acid is converted into glucose. See how versatile our human body is. Amino acids are converted into glucose and they are stored. Stored where? In liver and muscles as what? As glycogen. And this process of production of glucose, converting amino acids into glucose, is called gluconeogenesis. Glucogenesis means generation of glucose. Gluconeogenesis means new formation of glucose or formation of new glucose. Let us now move to the third nutrient, which you only suggested as fats. The technical term for fats is lipids. What are they made up of? They are made up of fatty acids and alcohols. Fatty acids are a type of compounds. Alcohols is a type of compounds. We will study more about them in science in the last chapter, organic chemistry. And because they are made up of fatty acids and alcohols, when we digest them, fatty acids and alcohols are produced. So proteins are made up of amino acids. So when we digest the protein, amino acids are produced. Fats, lipids are formed of fatty acids and alcohols. So when we digest them, fatty acids and alcohols are produced. Now, if you go back to page number 15 of the textbook and you see the flow chart for aerobic respiration, now you understand why from lipids we get fatty acids, because they are made up of fatty acids. Just like fats, just like proteins, fats are also used to make various different substances in our bodies. Various different. Mainly, the things that we need to remember is they are used in the plasma membrane. Phospholipids, one type of lipid, phospholipids. You would have guessed that lipids with phosphates, phosphorus. They are used to make plasma membrane, the cell membrane. They are also used to make hormones, the endocrine system. Fats are also used to make the cover around the axons of the nerve cells. But we are studying about respiration. We are studying about these nutrients in the context of production of energy. So how much energy can be produced from fats? Remember this number also. It is 9 kilocalories per gram. Carbohydrate, 4 kilocalories per gram. Protein, 4 kilocalories per gram. Fat is 9 kilocalories per gram. So now if someone asks you, which nutrient can be used to produce more energy per gram of the nutrient? Your answer has to be what? It is not carbohydrate. It is not protein. It is something else. What is it? It is lipids. It is fats. Akhilesh, Rajesh, all the students, I strongly encourage you to use the word lipids. Use the words that are given in the textbook. It will be good for your exams. Correct, correct. Okay. So what happens if there is excess of fat? Yes, we see that excess of fat in our human body becoming fat. हम मोटे हो जाते हैं, right? Tell me the technical thing. Find out the answer. What happens to the excess fat in our body? Read the section and tell me on page number 60. What happens to the excess fat? As Karina rightly pointed out, the excess of fat, the excess of lipids are stored in the adipose tissue in our body. Now, if you remember cells and tissues that we studied in class 9, there are multiple types of connective tissues. Blood is a connective tissue. Bone is also a connective tissue. Ligaments and tendons are also connective tissues because they join one tissue to another tissue, right? So adipose is another one type of connective tissue in which fat is stored, and that is what we see when we get fat. That is the adipose tissue that we see. But again, if there comes a time when the body is running low on carbohydrate, then it can use the fat stored in the adipose tissue to produce energy for the respiration. Have you seen a camel? ऊंट देखा है आपने कभी? उसके पीठ पे एक हम्प होता है, ऐसे उभरा हुआ रहता है. Some camels have one hump and some camels have two humps. And camels are also called as the ships of the deserts. Because they can go for a long time without food and water. And those humps are the places where they are storing their fat. हमारे बॉडी में फैट कहाँ पर आ जाता है? हमारे पेट पे और अलग अलग जगह पे आ जाता है. So the camels, they are in a way, their bodies are smarter than ours. They store their fat in a specific place, and they use it when they are running short of carbohydrates. Told you in the beginning, today's session is very, very easy. It has a lot of information, but very little to understand. And it's whatever little we need to understand, it's very intuitive. So lipids are made up of fatty acids and alcohols. We need to remember. What we need to understand, what is formed when lipids are digested? Of course, fatty acids and alcohols. As simple as that. Let us move to the next nutrient. More information. Vitamins. We in India call vitamin. Many people abroad, they call it vitamin. What are vitamins? There is no specific definition of vitamins. They are a very diverse group of compounds. But there are two types. Mainly two types, two groups. One group of vitamins, they are fat soluble. They can dissolve in fat. Another group is water soluble. They can dissolve in water. And the main vitamins are A, B, C, D, E, and K. Yes, they are names. These are the names of the vitamins. These are the standard names which are used across the world. There are more technical names. For example, the name of vitamin A is retinol. The name of vitamin D is calciferol. We are not getting into that. We will just need to know. We will know that there are two types of vitamins: fat soluble and water soluble. A, D, E, and K are fat soluble. B and C are water soluble. Remember, vitamin B itself is a very diverse group of compounds. We are not getting into all the different types of vitamin B, but it is very safe to say there are more than 10 different types of vitamin B. B1, B2, B3, B4, it continues. What are their uses? Now, they are not directly used in the production of energy. We don't make ATP from them. But remember, in the process of respiration, NADH2 and FADH2 are also produced. Now, these compounds are produced with the help of these vitamins B2 and B5. This is just one use of vitamins. And this is the link between vitamins and respiration. B2 and B5 are used in the production of NADH2 and FADH2. So they also take part in those reactions. Which reactions? The glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, the electron transfer chain reaction. More importantly, though, these vitamins, they help carry out various life processes in our bodies. And if these vitamins are not there, then there are the human body suffers from various diseases, and these diseases are called vitamin deficiency diseases that are caused because of lack of vitamins. And these are the 5 main vitamin deficiency diseases that all of us should know. And remember, night blindness, you would have guessed कि रात में दिखने में कमजोर होने आंख, and that happens when there is lack of vitamin A in our body. Rickets is a disease of the bones. This happens when there is lack of vitamin D. दादा दादी पापा मम्मी बोलते हैं सुबह सुबह थोड़ा टहलने जाओ, हड्डी मजबूत होगी, because that sunlight helps in the absorption of calcium in the bone, which produces vitamin D. And the vitamin D helps in the absorption of calcium, and that absorption is facilitated by sunlight. Beriberi is another disease which is caused by deficiency of B1. Pellagra is caused by the deficiency of vitamin B3. Scurvy is caused by the deficiency of vitamin C. Scurvy is very famous because when people are on long journeys, sea journeys, पहले लोग जाते थे, अभी तो sea journey they have become shorter because of fast ships. पहले महीनों लग जाते थे. And when someone is on the ship, the type of food that is available to that person is very limited, the sailors mainly. And the food that is mainly available from the sea, it is deficient in vitamin C. And they get this disease called scurvy. उनके होठ, उनके tongues inflame हो जाते थे, फट जाते थे, scurvy. This is, remember, the main connection between vitamins and respiration is B2 and B5 are necessary for production of NADH2 and FADH2. Other information is more general information about vitamins as nutrients. So where are we getting these nutrients from? From our food. So when we say fat, so fat, all of us know, or lipids, oil, butter, makhan, all those things, which is we have evolved to like those things. We like sugar. We have evolved to like those things so that we get more and more energy, because our bodies have evolved in a situation where food was scarce. Now we live in a situation where food is in excess. So we have different types of disease now. diabetes, overweight people, obesity, which is called. Let us move to the next nutrient, which is called minerals. And I told you it is not given in the textbook. And the reason it is not mentioned in the textbook is very simple, that this is not directly related to respiration. So what are minerals? They are some specific elements, the same elements which we have studied in Science 1. There are many elements that are necessary for our life processes. Many different elements. 5 of them are extremely important. I have noted the chemical formulae on the screen. Can you tell me the names? What is Fe? What does Fe stand for? Speak or type. Fe. Correct, Chan. It is iron. Correct, Chanda. Iron. What is Ca?
Calcium.
Correct. Calcium. Anushka, Aman. Correct. What is Mg? Magnesium. Magnesium. What is Zn?
Zinc.
Correct. And what is K?
Potassium.
Potassium. So these are the 5 most important elements for our body, for human body: iron, calcium, magnesium, zinc, and potassium. Just remember the names. When you go to college, when you study biology in detail, when you study digestion in detail, when you study nutrition in detail, you will understand where and how these minerals are used. Not now, not this year, not for the board exam. Let us now move to the next nutrient. And I clearly remember that when I was in school, I was not taught that water is also a nutrient. And I was not taught, but it's good. It's good. It's one way of seeing one perspective where it is said that water is also a nutrient. And how important it is, we understand how important it is when we understand that 65 to 70% of our body is made up of water. 70% of the weight of any cell in our body is made up of water. 90% of the plasma that is there in our blood is water. So if the water is scarce, if we don't drink enough water, there will be problem in all the cells, problem in the plasma, and we will suffer. So how is this water helping us? It doesn't occur to us very easily. But it is the water that makes blood flow. It makes the blood fluid. So it is used for transport. We have studied this in case of plants also, xylem, phloem. Also, water acts as the medium in which various reactions take place. Okay. So water is extremely essential, so much so, I don't remember the exact numbers, but human body can survive much longer without food than without water. Water is more important than food for us to be alive. Sharir pani se bana. Na, that's one way of saying. So if we don't drink enough water, then we will face with dehydration. And dehydration doesn't happen only in our skin. When there is dehydration in the skin becomes dry. The dehydration happens at the cell level. Every cell, dehydration happens only even in our nerve cells, in our brain, and we cannot function properly. We should drink enough water. And how much water is enough? There is no clear answer. Every body is unique. So drink water whenever you feel thirsty, please. The last nutrient is called, the way I studied, it was called roughage, but in your textbook, it's called fibers. No problem, because it means the same thing. And the interesting thing about this is something that we cannot digest. Our human bodies cannot digest, but there are some other organisms that can digest the fiber, roughage, like the cattle, our cows, buffaloes. There are some animals who can digest the fiber more than the human body. Our body cannot digest. Then why do we need it? We need it because it helps in digestion. How is it related to production of energy? Production of energy needs basic component of the food, basic nutrients. And that basic nutrients are produced by digestion. So for digestion, roughage is required. These are fibers. Also, fibers are required for proper digestion of undigested substance. Too much of fiber may cause loose motion. Lack of fiber can cause constipation. But fiber, they are not digested. They go through our mouth and they come out through our anus. And the main source of these fibers are leafy vegetables, fruits, cereals. Cereals is our gehu, jwar, bajra, those things. So we need to have a very balanced diet, and the balanced diet should have fibers also. It should have enough water. It should have enough minerals. It should have enough vitamins of all the types. It should have fats. It should have proteins, and it should have carbohydrates. One interesting thing about vitamins is, you see, A, D, E, K, they are fat soluble. So if there is excess of vitamin, they remain dissolved in the fat in our body. But if there is excess of vitamin B and C, they cannot be stored in the body. They come out of the body through our urine. Remember this, the basic difference between fat soluble and water soluble vitamins. Next, we are going to look at some questions from the exercise, which is at the end of the chapter of the textbook. Let us see what more questions we can answer. I will share the textbook with you. Now, question number 1A, we have answered. 1B, we have answered. C and D, we will answer after we study cell division. 1E, for formation of plasma membrane, dash molecules are necessary. Let's see if you remember. Let us see if you can find the answer. What molecules are necessary? I mentioned this, and it was mentioned on one of the slides. Do you remember? If you don't remember, can you find out in the textbook? It's on page number 16, bottom of the page. Find out and tell. Phospholipids, correct. So for formation of plasma membrane, phospholipid molecules are necessary. So it is a type of lipid. Right? Fat, uses of fat. This was mentioned on the slide for lipids. Very good. What other questions we can answer now? Now question number 2, nutrition, we can define. Nutrients, we can define. Proteins, we can define. So once we complete A, B, and C, we would have completed question number 2. There is nothing for me to explain here now. We started today's session with nutrition, nutrients, and we also studied about proteins. Number 3, which is about distinguish or differentiate. So we have already answered A and C. D is about mitosis and meiosis. We haven't studied it, so not yet. 4. 4B, 4A we have completed. 4B, fibers are one of the important nutrients. Right? So two things you will say. They are necessary for digestion and they are also necessary for digestion. 2 things you have to mention. One is not enough. Other questions we have completed. Question number 5. Anything we can answer? No. Right? So very few questions we can complete now. I hope you are able to see the presentation again. Are you able to see? Can one of you please confirm? Okay. The next thing that we will study today is about cell cycle, to be prepared for the next part of the chapter, which is about cell division. So for this, I'm going to play a video for you. Listen carefully, watch carefully, and if you want to make notes, you can make notes also. I have already included the link to that video on the slide, so you need not worry about if you miss something, you can watch once again later. Hope the video made some sense, and we realized that not all the cells divide. Some will divide, some will not divide. Also, the speed and frequency of the division of the cell also is different from one type of cell to another type of cell. There is a lot of time that goes not into dividing, but in the preparation of dividing, which is called the interphase, where the cell is growing in size. The cell also in the nucleus, the nuclear material is duplicated. The DNA is duplicated. And then the division, where the cell either splits into 2, which is mitosis, or the cell splits into 4, which is meiosis. So in the remaining part of the chapter, we will focus on mitosis and meiosis, how the cells divide. And this is required for us to understand how bodies grow, how life starts. For us to do that in a good way, properly, please complete this homework. You will make notes about what we have studied today. You will answer questions from the exercise 1E, 2A, 2B, 2C, and 4B. You will watch 2 more videos, and these videos are about mitosis and meiosis. Very interesting. And once you watch the video, then you read the pages 17 to 20 of the textbook, you will understand what is happening in mitosis and meiosis. Complete this latest by tomorrow night, that is 23rd of November. That is it for now.